Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but before that, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. 3 Steelers cut candidates entering 2025 offseason. The Pittsburgh Steelers head into the 2025 offseason facing some tough decisions. Sure, they remain a disciplined, well-coached team under Mike Tomlin. However, their inability to break through in the playoffs continues to be a lingering frustration. With an aging roster, looming salary cap constraints, and a pressing need to close the gap in a loaded AFC, the front office must make some difficult personnel moves. As they evaluate their roster, several high-priced veterans could be on the chopping block. Strong start, disappointing finish. The Steelers looked poised for a deep playoff push after jumping out to a 10-3 record. In the process, they secured yet another postseason appearance under Tomlin. However, an 0-5 skid to close the season exposed the team's lingering weaknesses. Yes, their defense remained formidable. That said, inconsistency at quarterback, primarily with Russell Wilson under center, proved to be their downfall against elite competition. Despite outside speculation about Tomlin's future, the Steelers' primary concern remains the quarterback position. Wilson didn't provide the spark they needed. Yet, the team has already determined he's a better option than Justin Fields. With limited options in free agency and a mid-first-round draft pick, number 21 overall, finding a true difference-maker at quarterback will be an uphill battle. As Pittsburgh navigates that challenge, they'll also need to make strategic roster cuts to create financial flexibility. These are decisions that could shake up their lineup heading into 2025. Here we'll try to identify the 3 players who are the Pittsburgh Steelers cut candidates entering the 2025 NFL offseason. 1. Preston Smith, edge. Pittsburgh's acquisition of Preston Smith in 2024 was meant to add veteran stability to their pass rush alongside T.J. Watt. However, the move didn't yield the expected results. The 31-year-old outside linebacker struggled to make an impact. He registered just 2 sacks, despite significant playing time in Pittsburgh's defensive rotation. Letting go of Smith could be one of the Steelers' easier decisions this offseason. Brought in as a midseason reinforcement, his numbers were underwhelming across 8 games. Yes, adjusting to a new system midseason isn't easy. However, Smith simply didn't provide the spark Pittsburgh had hoped for. At $13.4 million, his cap hit is far too steep for his level of production. Sure, restructuring his contract could be an option to lower his financial impact. That said, the Steelers don't necessarily need to keep him. With over $40 million in cap space but uncertainty at quarterback and several other roster needs, Pittsburgh would be better served using that money elsewhere. With Watt and Alex Highsmith locked in as the starting edge rushers, Smith becomes an expendable luxury rather than a necessity. 2. Larry Ogunjobi, DL. Larry Ogunjobi has been a dependable presence on Pittsburgh's defensive front. However, his performance in 2024 has raised concerns about his value relative to his contract. He is set to be one of the 25 highest-paid defensive tackles in the league. That said, his production no longer justifies that price tag. At 31 years old next season, Ogunjobi faces the reality of an aging veteran being replaced by younger talent. Steelers replace coach after another mediocre season. The Pittsburgh Steelers went another season without a playoff victory in what is becoming an increasingly common theme for the franchise. The Steelers dropped their final 5 games of the season, including a playoff loss to their division rival Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round of the playoffs. After the season, Steelers owner Rooney II gave his public support for head coach Mike Tomlin despite the drought of playoff success and increasing calls from fans and pundits for Tomlin's job. However, not everyone's spot on the sidelines was safe, and multiple holes opened up on the Steelers staff. Now, according to Pro Football Talk, the team has begun the process of replacing the lost staff members. the Steelers have hired Scott McCurley as their new inside linebackers coach, reported Pro Football Talk on Wednesday. McCurley is replacing Aaron Curry, who held the job last season. Fans reacted to the news on social media. "Can we please stop hiring people from PA or with ties to the Steelers?" Which this guy is the former, one fan wrote on Twitter. "More yes men for coach cliché baby. Just keep being patient art. We are so close to tying the Dolphins' playoff losing streak and extending the longest playoff win drought in modern team history," one fan added. "This must have been the immense changes that Presidente was talking about. Wrap it up boys, we're cooked," another fan added. "It'll be what other changes are coming down the pipeline for the Steelers." Steelers could take a chance on Packers' fourth-year QB this offseason. After a slightly confusing season from Jordan Love, in which strong, efficient play was combined with substantial reckless and mistake-riddled play, the Green Bay Packers are looking to fortify their offense and get the team ready to contend in 2025. One often overlooked part of the quarterback play in 2024 came from backup Malik Willis, who proverbially shocked the world as he had notable contributions in 5 games, registering 550 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a very impressive 124.8 passer rating, during which he went 2-0 as a starter. As a result, teams could well look his way for quarterback reinforcements in what is a bare QB draft and a lackluster free agency class. Ryan Pulaski of Fansided's Still Curtain discusses the possibility of the Pittsburgh Steelers making a play for the Packers' breakout signal caller. "Pittsburgh showed a lot of pre-draft interest in most quarterbacks coming out of that draft," Pulaski writes. "All signs pointed to the team wanting to take Malik Willis that year. He was shooting up draft boards leading up to the event, and many thought he would get taken by the Steelers if he were still available in round 1. Willis fell to the 3rd round after the Steelers chose Pickett instead. Willis didn't last long with the Tennessee Titans and was traded to the Packers for pennies on the dollar. Mike Tomlin wants mobility and a strong arm at quarterback. The longtime coach in Pittsburgh won't forget the countless hours of draft prep he did on this player. And with the latter being younger and having more room to grow, and probably an increased willingness to back up a starter, the organization seemed to be trending towards keeping Fields. Many fans are fed up about the team going for old, medium-quality bridge quarterbacks, and Pulaski believes that the Steelers could have a dynamic QB duo of both Fields and Willis, were they to trade for him, going into this season. Having a room of Fields and Willis would provide a young spark to the position. Both could be considered draft busts, but they add a similar skill set to Pittsburgh's offense. They have strong arms and mobility. Willis started 2 games for the Packers this past season and didn't produce any interceptions. If the Steelers want to trade for a backup similar to Fields' situation last year, then Willis should be their top target. Willis would certainly be an enticing candidate for the AFC North team, but Green Bay would be reticent to part with the quarterback they had so much success with this past year, after trading a 7th-rounder to them for his services at the end of training camp last August. It would perhaps be far-fetched to anoint Willis as an immediate starting caliber quarterback, despite his eye-popping numbers in his first year in Wisconsin, but the Packers brass would likely have to be enthralled by an offer to part with the talented 25-year-old. Willis was always regarded as a raw talent coming out of college, and that ability is why many picked him to be a first-round pick pre-draft, despite him eventually falling to the Titans at number 86 overall. Pittsburgh would likely have to feel confident enough that he could be a potential starting QB in the league for them to give up upwards of the 3rd or 4th-round pick that it would likely take to lure Willis away from the Packers. But if Green Bay are willing to sell high on the Liberty product, it could well be a possibility. And you fan? What do you think of Malik Willis' situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.